All right, Lofty, wait a minute. Let's get the bad bits out. Now, these are lovely apples off John's orchard. There's no chemicals on them. They're beautiful, beautiful apples. There's a good boy. Was that nice? Is that nice? Do you want me to tell you what I'm doing, John?
Oh yeah, you just talk away as you...
Okay, well,
as if...
horses need to be reshod at least every 6 weeks. He's 6 weeks today. You need to trim their feet, and if the shoes are not worn out, refit them, or if the shoes are too worn, then you put new ones on. So I'm just cutting the clinches so that I can pull the shoe off, and then I'll trim the foot. That's a good lad. See, now that shoe's still got a lot of life in it. Come on, so it can go back on. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. I'm just powering a little bit off the sole so that I can see how far to trim. Right, that's ready for trimming now. Got to make sure the shoe is nice and level.
As in flat?
Yeah. Nice flat level shoe fitted to a nice flat level hoof.
Yeah.
Makes a good combination for a good shoeing. Right. That's it. I'll now trim the hoof down. It's important to get the foot nice and flat and level.
Yeah. Matches the shoe.
Right, let's have a look, see. Good boy, can I have a look? That's a good lad. I'm just going to level, make sure the foot's level. That, the ergo, the elbow, the knee, all need to be in line when checking the level. Now he's pretty good, but because he's a little bit pigeon-toed, I'm not going to try and fight nature. I'm just going to take a little bit off of there just to turn him out a little bit.
All right. Yep.
If a horse isn't fixed up when he's 2-3 days old, up to about 3 months, you can forget any correction. The corrective work ends at roughly 6 months and the maintenance begins. So all you can do is maintain him and keep him as comfortable as possible. These are the nails I use. They're beveled on one side so that when the nail's driven in, it'll start to curl out. The idea of that is you get the bevel to the inside of the foot and then it'll curl out.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If you put it in the wrong way round, you'll end up injuring the horse. Good lad.
All right.
Come on, my little cherub. Ooh. I'll just par a little bit off the toe so that there's a bit of clearance between the
Ground.
sole and the shoe.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want sole pressure, can bruise the horse and it can make him sore. And if he gets bruised, chances are he'll abscess, and then it's quite expensive to get the vet to...
He'll hate you for it.
Yeah, the horse and the owner both will develop a rooted dislike for you. And it's best not to fall out with either.
Yeah.
I've shod this horse for probably 4 years now, I think.
Oh, yeah. So she knows you well.
Yeah. I think he's only ever played up once, and that was when he was in a bit of pain. He had a bad back, I think it was.
How many nails do you use?
I use 6. I figure if you can't keep a shoe on with 6 nails, 20 won't do it either. Once I've driven the nail in, I ring them off.
Yeah.
The hammer is called a driving hammer.
It's got a nice shape to it.
Yeah, it's a cavalry hammer. That's another name for it. That boy. Good lad. Good boy. Got a bit of seedy toe in there, so I'll treat that before I put the shoe back on.
She's got what?
Seedy toe, it's kind of foot rot.
Ah. How can you tell?
Well, the hole that's going up inside his foot.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a bacteria that can exist without air. So it needs
Seedy toe. Oh,
an
okay. Is that
antiseptic.
that gap in the front there?
Yeah. See, it's going right up inside his foot.
No.
So I'll get a nail and dig a bit more of that rubbish out, and then I'll pack it before I put the shoe back on to kill the bacteria. Okay, love. Attaboy. Good boy. Good lad. Attaboy. In slang terms, I'm lacing him up.
Yeah.
In other words, I'm clinching up the nails that I've driven in, which
Yeah.
means they're bent over so that they don't pull
Pull
back
out.
through the hoof.
Yeah.
bit the same as nailing two bits of wood together. If the nail comes through, you bend it over so it doesn't fall apart.
Yeah.
The clinch should be the same length as it is wide. So it should be a nice square clinch when it's finished. Then I just run the rasp over it to take any roughness off and any sharp edges off the nails.
And align the hoof to the front of the shoe?
No.
Like as in just trim it too?
No, not with quarter clip shoes. You can leave the hoof sitting slightly over the shoe.
Yeah.
It's almost bordering on corrective shoeing. Especially with this type of foot that's fairly flat. They tend to start getting dishy, and that's because the hoof's stressing out.
Yeah.
So by fitting quarter clip shoes, you can pull the shoes back further and get the horse's legs more under him, therefore keeping the horse more comfortable and keeping the hoof a better shape.
Oh yeah.
I think if this horse was shod in toe clips, unless you cut the hoof right back and pull the shoe back, he would start to get very dishy and he would probably start ripping shoes off.
Right.
But with the way I've done it, I don't have to file very much off the toe at all. His feet are already very weak. They don't need to be weakened even more by filing the toes off.
Yeah.
He very seldom loses shoes. He's good with his shoes. And he's got good feet. They weren't when I first started shoeing him. He had different sized feet. But now he's in the same size shoes all round.
Oh, yeah.
And as I say, he doesn't lose shoes, not to my knowledge. So he's a good horse to shoe. Come on, sweetie. You see how dishy that is?
Concave?
Yeah.
Yep, yep.
See the dish? I don't want to take too much off the foot. They reckon to file it right off and get it dead straight up and down, but it would weaken his feet too much.
Yeah, it would.
So all I can do is just keep it tidy, and that's probably taken most of the dish out just by that little bit of filing, but that's about all I'm prepared to do. There's still quite a bit of dish in there, but if I take any more off, it's going to weaken his feet even more, and then he will start having problems.